I have 5:30. If you will all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to this July 20th, 2026 meeting of the Metropolitan School District Board of School Trustees. We will start with recognitions and delegations. Persons wishing to be recognized to speak on any agenda item or to be heard as part of a section of the agenda dealing with delegation or citizen comments, or to identify themselves by name and the point on the agenda where they wish to be recognized. Lois, we have you. Yes. Right. Anyone else? You, Paula will follow her? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Duly noted. Okay. All right. We will move now into recommended actions.
And are we good to take the minutes that we have included from the July 6th meeting, our approval of vouchers, and then the acceptance of our financial statement as well?
Yes, we will take A, B, and C.
So we have enclosed our minutes from the July 6th meeting. We've also enclosed vouchers and electronic transfers. And as of June 2026, 50% of the year is gone. In the education fund, 46.53% of the budget has been expended. In the operations fund, 29.51% of the budget has been expended.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 6th, 2026 meeting as prepared or as corrected? And is there a motion to authorize payment of payroll checks 410824 through 411424, voucher checks 148064 through 148122, and electronic transfers ET 003468 through ET 003475 as recommended? Voided payroll and voucher checks not listed on the voucher listings in the above sequences are not approved for payment by this action. And do we have a motion to accept the financial statements for June 30th, 2026 and file it for audit?
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Williams, seconded by Mr. Isaac. Do we have any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, we will move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Vote same sign, and motion carries. We have some unfinished business in dealing with a policy revision.
At a previous meeting, the board reviewed and discussed the proposed policy revision to the policy. We are now recommending the board adopt policy 329, and this is for electronic devices in the classroom. We will not allow those to be in the classroom. Students will be able to store those in their lockers when they get to school and then retrieve them when they leave for school at the end of the day.
Right. Do we have a motion to adopt policy 329 as recommended?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead, Brian. Mr. Brian. A motion by Ms. Butler, seconded by Mr. Williams. Any comments, questions, or concerns? And this policy aligns us with state law?
It does, yes.
Yes. And something that all school districts are dealing with as a result of new legislation.
And we are trying to be consistent with our neighboring districts who are going to utilize the same approach.
Yes. Okay. So we've been in contact with
Yes.
those neighboring districts discussing this.
Yes.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Saying none, we'll move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and motion carries. We have some new business dealing with personnel. So first we'll deal with resignation.
The following employees have resigned. Autumn Olstrom for elementary school teacher at West.
All right. Is there a motion to accept the resignation effective immediately or otherwise indicated from the list above as indicated by Dr. Stewart? So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Mr. Isaac, second by Ms. Butler. Any comments, questions, or concerns? And then we'll move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, and the motion carries. Then we have some recommendation. Looks like we're bringing somebody right back on.
We are. Chloe Kern will be a teacher's assistant at for special education at junior high, and then Autumn will return as a teacher's assistant at West Elementary.
All right, very good. Is there a motion to confirm the employment from the list above as read by Dr. Stewart?
Moved.
Second. A motion by Mr. Williams, seconded by Mr. Isaacs. Any comments, questions, concerns? The board? Seeing none, we'll move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion carries. Then we have, normally used to saying something about a retirement. We have no retirement.
Have
So.
those right now. Fingers
Okay,
crossed.
good. We're keeping our our senior folks. All right. We have some educational meetings.
Susie McCune will attend the 2026 Skyward Indiana User Group Conference in Muncie, Indiana, September 28th through the 29th, 2026.
Their motion to adopt the resolution permitting personnel listed to attend the educational meetings. So moved.
Second.
It was made by Mr. Isaac, seconded by Ms. Butler. Comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, we'll move the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion carries. And then we have, is this a revision to a lease agreement or we're renewing at a?
It's a renewal.
Renewal, okay.
Yeah, we're just instead of a typical 12-month, we're doing a 6-month lease. Just with the upcoming projects that we may have going, we felt more comfortable to do a shorter lease. It doesn't mean that it won't extend past that, but we've been in contact with our tenants and they're aware that we have potential plans at Hedges Elementary School, and they're working with us. We're working with them to stay in contact and get them information when we have it. So.
Good. Okay. Is there a motion to authorize a lease for a section of Hedges Central School for Family Matters for a period of 6 months beginning July 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Made by Ms. Butler, seconded by Mr. Williams. And I assume we've had those meetings with other tenants and everyone there is on
Yes.
board with what's going
Yes.
on.
I think everyone's anxious to get a clearer picture, including us as
Right,
well.
absolutely.
But we've let them know that we'll absolutely pass on any information we have.
Okay, good. All transparency and good communications are going on. Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move to the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. All right. We've now arrived at information and proposals. Lois.
The changes are pretty cut and dry. The kids just can't have the phones during the school day. There are some exceptions if you need your device for the medical reasons or you have a certain student plan. That would be worked out between the parents and the school administrators. But other than that, and I think for the most part, I think in the lower grades in junior high, it's not as big of an issue. It's definitely going to be something we're all going to have to get used to.
In the old, I know they can't even do.
Mm-mm.
In the old, they can do.
They were allowed to, but since the legislation has changed, we have to align with the new state law. So
Something that,
mhm.
so
They will not be allowed to have the electronic devices unless there's some reason like they're a student that has a diabetic need and they use that for something like that. But
and the teachers,
yeah, it's going to be all hands on deck because that's going to be a tough one. It is going to be. We understand that children and students depend heavily on their phones. So we're going to all have to work together to make sure we're in compliance.
Yeah, I saw that. And
And some schools have not allowed those for some time now. So we had some changes in the AO office. Sarah left and went to a different position. And so we will get that back to you. If you have any questions about the two candidates, we can answer that. We've been all hands on deck in our office too, trying to keep up with the things that we needed to get together for the meeting. So
uh, so we want to get the person.
most of the time, every once in a while, I think we had one this year that we asked to move. But it doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while we'd rather save somebody a job and move them to another school where there is an opening than have to do any layoffs. So okay. Oh, oh, working on it. That's written in a handbook somewhere. Let me see if I have it. I think there's kind of like a warning, and the phone won't be taken. The parents will have to come and get it. I think that's the main thing. Yeah. Um, I have it somewhere here. Let's see. I have it right. I'm gonna try not to kick anybody out of school for that because we want them here. So hopefully everyone will cooperate and it will not be something that we have to worry too much about. But I think that, having a conversation with a student, having a conversation with a parent and getting everyone to understand that policy actually is taken straight from ISBA, they wrote that for us. So yeah, we didn't really put any of our magic in it. It's all straight from ISBA. So we know that it's going to be it's hard. Let's see. They gave us any of the disciplinary actions. They didn't put any in here. So I would say a warning. I would say it's going to be taken up for the day. Those would be the first two things. Hopefully we don't have to go any further than that. We have really good kids. So everyone's going to come and follow the policy. That was a joke. Not to my knowledge.
We are
We're not. No. I don't know what they're doing. I know we did change our filtering system and there is a new policy out that you know it by heart
I
with the
don't.
parents having some
They have
a
more
voice.
control.
Parents
Yeah.
have more control over the filtering system that we use, what their kids are able to see and not see. But we actually upgraded ours last semester, I think, to make it a little bit stronger. So we're constantly monitoring that. Not this year. I mean, we don't have any plans to get rid of block scheduling. I think there's things that would be great about it and things that would not be great about it on both sides. So at this, we do not have a plan for that. Right. Sure. Yeah.
It's good.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is. So we want to discuss develop our parent where that so it doesn't take end of it. On the conference we are included here. The I can be like I'm not so not here but there is so it can take I got from person to we will so lot so much of a video time for example in the state is literacy will mostly be about use the evidence-based curriculum. Yeah. All of my in or just usually have to be ready 50%. Um, could you I do you know what they're gonna do with they so well, you
Mm-hmm. Sure.
so you they'll love that. Yeah. You know,
How many students normally attend? How many students normally attend the program here?
and I'm gonna hear and
So you have pickup that goes to locations?
yes,
Okay,
do the
gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, sure.
and there's supporting he's so it's all yeah. And so things like in the
All right, very good. Thank you. All right, anyone else? I think that covers everybody. Everybody's,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Uh, non-staff communications.
This you?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Did you have anything you wanted to say from those
No,
three
we're
things?
still one more.
Oh,
Nothing
we
on
have
that?
no non-staff
okay.
communications. Yep, I'd already jumped.
All right, let's go with self-insurance fund.
Yeah,
It's
great news.
good news.
Yes, good news. Positive balance. Fuel adjustment chart. Not as great news, obviously, with uh, the gas prices, diesel prices are a little high right now, so it'll cost us a little bit more to run our contracted routes, but that's some months it's a little lower, some months it's a little higher. So, but we have that in there for you, and then Dr. Stewart will talk about our house update.
Housing update. I know you've been on pins and needles, Lois, for this one. So they are putting the finishing touches on now, and then we will start the appraisal process to go through and put it on the market. So we don't have a definite date yet, but I would say we're on the very end part of the project. So finishing up just the last little touches in the house, and then we will start that appraisal process. I think we have to get how many?
Two appraisals, and then we have to sell it at the minimum of the average of the two appraisals.
Okay. Not yet, but it's getting close. Getting close.
Can we get an update at our next meeting on our summer projects? There's a lot of activity going on everywhere, and I wasn't sure how we're progressing. We're going to finish timely and so forth.
Sure.
Not putting you on the spot now.
I think we are. Yeah, no, I think we're Mark Hosetter has been on the summer projects and working with Tony Aldridge, and I think we're going to be sitting pretty good when school starts. I can't think of anything that's outstanding. Can you, that we've been working on?
Well, the Mars project, the widening,
but it should be.
But it
should be completed. Hope and Tile Factory's open. We've been told, looking promising. Help us a lot. And then as far as our in-school projects, we've had some small things we're doing, not anything too major, like at Farmersville. They're getting a couple pictures and doing some things like that. We've been monitoring our HVAC systems because last year we had an issue at Mars where it became very humid and we had some cleanup from that.
Remember that, huh?
Are you the one with the tree? Yeah, so we're watching those things. Yeah, we're nature. Mars is a nature school.
Yeah.
So we've been monitoring that, but everything seems to be coming along. But what I'll do is get a more detailed list of everything that we've done throughout the summer and how it's coming along. The soccer field looks good. Football field looks good.
What was the last communication on Tile Factory? What do you?
Well, they thought the end of this week would be
Okay.
finished, but then they had to go back and do some things after we had the rain a couple weekends ago, and they noticed the flooding. They're going back and doing some things before they pave it. So let's say, I don't want anyone to quote me.
No,
Regal might not like
that's
that,
how
but
close we are.
we
They
could
thought
have
this
had
week.
it finished
Okay.
by the end of the week. Yeah. So
Then I don't know if Lois, while Mr. Harris is getting activity here, I don't know if Lois wants to put a little notation. We've got the traffic pattern in effect out at the bypass, which will affect. Will affect Farmersville traffic. Right.
It took 24 minutes today for one of my employees from Farmersville to get
Yeah.
through.
mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think, and I'm maybe speaking out of turn, but I think there's been some communications in the way of emergency services have talked to them about maybe trying to set that pattern a little quicker as far as timing of the lights, but that's just something I heard. I don't know that for a fact, but I know that there has been some communications back and forth. But yeah, just as an aside, while he's getting this going, I came up to Cybert and sat there yesterday, Sunday afternoon. There was just this long stream of traffic that had been released down at the light. And I thought, wow. And yeah, it just kept coming and coming and coming because it had been backed up. So yeah, that commute in the morning and in the afternoon's going to be some difficulties, I think. Patience, patience. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Speaking of patience, be patient with Bo here.
Okay.
About half hour.
Yeah.
Would you like us to take a few more of these agenda items and then we can
Sure.
just go
Sure.
into that? Okay.
Okay, how about,
Future business.
that's right. Okay, so we will meet again on August 3rd, right here at 5:30, then August 17th, and then Tuesday, September 8th. All of the meetings are held here. We also will have our staff back on August 5th, and we will have our back to school meeting in the morning. And then Thursday, August 6th, our kids will return. We have Bo working on his presentation. And then we're also presenting, we are, like I said at the beginning of the summer, we've been cleaning up and making sure our policies are in line. And as there are changes, we update those. So we will retire a couple policies. We're going to retire an assignment and transfer policy and the sick leave bank. We already don't have the sick leave bank in our contract, but we didn't retire that as a policy. So we're going to do that. We will have a policy of the display of flag and the Pledge of Allegiance. And we will also have a policy for the moment of silence, which we will have in our schools, which we do, but we need a policy for it. And we will be bringing an employee handbook to the board to review and hopefully adopt that just has specifics what our process will be when teachers want to move to a different building. So we'll have a process in place for that. We'll outline that and other human resources things that we haven't had in writing in the past. So really how we do things, FMLA, attendance.
So do you have that in draft form now? You're just
We are
reviewing
working
it?
on it, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah. So those are the policies we're presenting for you all to review before the next.
Okay. Got a little work to do.
We have a lot of work to do. There's more to come.
Okay.
Well,
What do we think's the problem? Did you have it up yet today?
I did.
Do you have copies?
Printed copies.
Do we want to make copies?
Not really.
Okay.
Wonder if that board works over there.
We need to do.
So I'll move this over.
You want to move that one out?
Move that one.
Okay.
You were all behind us.
I can move over there.
Easier.
You want the Kendra's?
Yep.
Brian, I think there's a plug, but it's like in between the wall and the bookshelf.
Yeah, in between the wall and bookshelf.
I remember when they plugged it in last
Yeah.
time, it was like a tight squeeze to get it in there.
Gonna do, anything in the budget? Good. Now I don't have to turn around.
Like to
No, it's just.
Look at that.
Oh, all right. That's not a bad omen to start. Do this. All right. So 2027 budget, we're covering the education fund and the rainy day fund today. Just where we're at right now. Obviously, we're presenting those. Next board meeting, we'll do the operations and the debt service fund. And then the meeting after that is when we'll do the board permission to advertise for our 2027 budgets. As a reminder, funding sources for the education fund is the state formula that we get every 2 years that projects out the 2 years, and that's based on our student ADM counts in October and February. And then the rainy day fund is just the actual cash balance. So education fund, there's really not a lot of secrets about it. It's mostly salaries and benefits, and so there's not a ton of changes. We did have some changes that we'll go over in it for this year, but I thought we'd talk about just kind of where we've been at the last couple of years, some recent education fund challenges. So we used to be able to curricular materials where it was a separate fund and we would basically pay for the books and then we'd get reimbursed. Well, that went away. We then had to pay for it out of the education fund, but then the state reimbursed us. But then that went away as well. So basically, it's been baked into the ADM cost. So we're covering that cost of all of our curricular materials, and we don't get really reimbursement for that going forward. That amounts to anywhere, depending on the type of adoption, $200,000 to $300,000 a year, and that doesn't include Chromebooks. So we spend a lot, obviously, in curriculum. Our teacher retirement fund contribution percentages have increased multiple times. This is something that's completely out of our control, and obviously nothing that we can do about it except for budget and project it and pay it. So not something that you can really push back against. Our perf percentages have also gone up, but that's not as big of an impact in the education fund. And then additional staffing required to meet the new graduation requirements and other regulations set by the state. And then since fiscal year 22, overall state revenue increases to our ADM have not been keeping up with inflation or the additional new requirements. So basically, the foundation amount, which is that base amount that we get since fiscal year 22, has increased by about 14.8%, and our inflation during that same period is about 25%. So we have trying to do more with less spending power. So, but we do have we're in a good spot financially. Let's try and get all the bad news out of the way first, and then talk about all the good things that we're going to talk about. So, how we responded to this? We had a demographic study done to understand the changing demographics of our community and how this will impact enrollment over the next decade. So whenever we see that enrollment, not that we don't want to encourage increased enrollment, but when we see that it may decline, it's not a shock because we see the 10-year projections. The average age of someone in our community is getting older. There's more migration out of the community from younger folks, and then we are at under the replacement rate for the county. So all things that are not positive for increasing enrollment. So we got to get creative with how we fix that problem. And then whenever we have, because when we know that we may have less enrollment down the road, we look at the future and we see where there's positions that we may not need to fill. If someone resigns or retires, are we able to fill that within and not replace somewhere else? Because we know that the incoming classes are just historically smaller than what our older classes are. And then focus on offering unique programming for our students. This is something that I think we do a good job, and I think we're continuing to do a good job on, especially in the CTE world, and then some other programs that we have. What can Mount Vernon offer that other school districts can't or aren't at the time? And then reorganizing positions in the district to basically just better align job responsibilities. All this is just to try and increase efficiency. Is all we're doing here. Okay, so ADM and enrollment. As you can see, the numbers are kind of been a little bit up and down over the last few years. And if you look at this chart, though, you can see the overall back to 2001. This isn't a recent issue that we have. The decline in enrollment over those years. We did see a little bit of a increase there back about 5 years ago. But again, with the demographic study, we're expecting that to trend more that way or a little bit flatter, and then we do expect to see maybe a little bit of an uptick in about 5 or 6 years. So here's our foundation / complexity funding. This is what basically you take your student count, your ADM, and you multiply it by that number, and you get kind of your base level funding. That doesn't include the additional special ed funding or the honors funding or CTE. So you can see kind of how much that has increased over the last few years. The last couple of years, we saw 1.3% increase, then a 2%, and then a 1.4% increase. So really trying to be lean with our hiring and how we staff. And so looking forward, we always try and project enrollment to be lower than what we think that it'll be, so that hopefully we're pleasantly surprised. So using for 2027, 1,820 students as kind of the basis for what we're looking at. And if that happens, then that would be about a $47,000 decrease from last year's funding. This is our revenue forecast. Back out of your way here. Here's the big one. This is that one that I've been talking about, the complexity of the foundation, all those. You can see that kind of small decline projection. Technology grants. This is the digital learning grant, which we know that we did get. It gives some of our e-learning coaches opportunities to do some really cool things, but we have to pay it out of our education fund, and then we get reimbursed for it. This has been a really good blessing up here on the interest on investments, bringing in about $1 million into the education fund each year. And then with really the state's kind of crackdown on fees that we're allowed to charge, we've kind of seen these numbers dwindle over time, what we're collecting and those fees. The curricular materials rental, that's really just like if there's a damaged textbook. That's about the only thing that gets in there. Okay, so some assumptions that we have. Most of our benefit packets run through June 30th, 2027. So we know what kind of the salaries are going to be until then. So half of this budget that we're talking about, but we won't know the second half until September, October at the earliest. Really, it's probably mid-October. So when we look at this, we're estimating where we think salaries will be at in the second half of 2027. So that is built into the estimate is an increase in salaries. And in this budget, like we talked about, we don't intend to fill all of our open positions that we have, but that doesn't mean that we didn't budget for them, because also we're going to continue pushing for, hopefully we do get increased enrollment, and I hope that we need to hire and fill those positions. And then we know the spring 2027 per student funding amount, but we're not going to know the fall 2027 until the legislative session is over early next year. Okay, so we're just going to talk about, like I said, there's really most of what the education fund is salaries and benefits. So I think for me to think about it, it's kind of just to go school by school and talk about if there's been any major changes. That doesn't mean there's not positional changes, just in the actual budget, because we know Farmersville has a new principal out there. There's been some changes that have happened, but as far as funding goes, there's really no major changes as far as budgeting. Mars, we're not planning on filling a third grade section at Mars Elementary School. Then at West, we're planning on not filling a second grade section. Junior high, there's really no major changes. The high school, we added a CTE teaching position. We have 2 TA positions that are not going to be filled. That one of those is we had basically a science TA that moved to be a teacher that filled a resignation that we had, and the other one did some kind of odds and ends stuff. And then we also added some funding for a potential welding teacher. BWXT has been a great partner for us, but we want to be able to do our part as well and plan for if there comes a time that we need to pitch in and help with that. So CTE has been a big focus of ours, going back to the planning for unique programming in our district. At the district level, this is really where the big change happened. We moved information systems, their department, out of the education fund into the operations fund. It made more sense for them to be in the operations fund, because those positions really aren't instructional in nature, and so we wanted to move them into more of an operations type role. Their job title or titles and duties don't change, just from a budgeting perspective. And then we had the state mandated increase to TRF, which was 0.6%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really about a teacher salary that cost us from that increasing. And then we did go ahead and eliminate the budget for our part-time STEM coach that had kind of came on during the ESSER grants, and we had added that position, and we had kept it on after ESSER 3 had ended. And then, but at this time, we're not planning on filling that role. Okay, so I say all that to say we actually have a decrease in our education fund budget. So it's been a while since we've seen a decrease in the budget. We're back at kind of 2025 levels, and honestly, the main reason is from moving the IT out into the operations. So it's not that we magically found a way to pay everybody way less and everybody be really happy about it. It's just moving people around. So, but it is good, because our education fund is the most highly monitored of our funds, and we're kind of have our hands tied the most with that. Operations, we have a little more flexibility with being able to transfer funds in and cover shortfalls and things like that. So I think it's good to focus on this education fund, keeping that as tamped down as we can. One thing that we're also really proud of is that I think I don't know how many districts, there's not a ton of districts that don't transfer money out of their education fund into their operations fund. That's a combination of my predecessor being really fiscally responsible, and also being blessed with where we live at and our property taxes. So that's something that we're hope to always continue, especially as long as we can. So here is where program by program where those changes are. The regular programs, this would just be your teachers, your TA, non-special ed teachers. Here's where a lot of the IT came. It's also the STEM coach. So almost $1 million just from that line. And altogether, you see the decrease of about $564,000 to the overall budget. And then for a cash balance, we always play out the worst case scenario of what could happen. So this is assuming that we spend out 100% to the penny of our budget. So we started the year with a $10.4 million cash balance. This is January 2026. We know what has happened in the first 6 months, but kind of got to project for the next 6 months. If all that happens, then we end the year with about a $9 million cash balance. Again, that is 100% education fund spend out. My goal is to always keep it around 95% or lower. And we just talked about where we're at right now, and we're on track to hit those goals. So that's 2026. And so if you continue it on to 2027, you'd see that then we start the year with $9.05 million. We spend out 100% of the budget. That leaves us with $8.2 million. So that's the worst case scenario. We don't anticipate being in that situation because hopefully our enrollment comes in higher than we projected and we spend less than what we project. So those two combinations will hopefully keep us at least at a kind of a neutral cash balance. So any questions on the education fund?
Is that about 20 kids less? Did you project? I'm trying to remember on that one slide.
On the average, yeah, it was probably about 20 less kids. The spring count was artificially low. So because normally we project about 30 to 40, but because it was a little bit lower and we know why.
Right. Gotcha.
And we have a clear reason why that happened and it's not going to happen again.
Right.
That we're able to be a little more conservative with that. Yeah.
This funding required
So we had to add a class at the junior high. It was the career
and career readiness.
Yeah, and then ELL services got more strict, where we had to provide English language learner services. We'd always provided those services, but you had to essentially kind of have a dedicated person that had the licensing in order to do that. Those are just two off the top of my head. Career and tech education.
So also Charlie Seifert is doing a new class now. He's doing a foundation class so that our students will have a preview of all of the different CTE courses and classes they could take later on. And so that kind of it gives them more opportunity at a younger age to kind of know which path they want to go down with the prerequisites. We have worked with Barry Cox and the Cox Group on what they need in our students when they graduate, what basic skills they need to go straight into the field for industrial maintenance and welding and our construction program. And so they've kind of helped us. We hope to have more conversations with the community so that we can start to create more pathways for students so that they get that experience. And we want to be really transparent. It might mean that kids will have to go on to a Vincent sort of a college or Ivy Tech. They may not jump right into the field, but they will be better prepared for those technical courses at that higher level because we want them to be competitive.
Yes. Oh, I don't think I said 5%, I didn't mean to say 5%. Yeah, in 5 years.
We
Yeah.
already have 2 years down. now.
Yes. Yeah. So really in about 3 years. No, it would not be 5%. And it's not gonna enough to make that chart go all the way back up to the top. It's just more of a leveling off, and maybe a slight uptick. I think in there it was maybe like 30 kids, is what that was.
I think with that prediction and that study that we did, we were close to what he predicted throughout these 5 years. And then the man that we hired to do this study, predicted that in 5 years, which is 3 years from now, we would start to see an increase again. So, and he looked at several different factors, birth rates and death rates and housing opportunities, and there were several things he studied. So
Anything else? All right, the much easier fund, rainy day fund. All right, we really don't have any projected revenue coming in for the rainy day fund. That 135,000 was the yearly payments to pay for our turf football field, but those ended in 2024. And then our budget has stayed essentially the same for a long time in 2023. That was the increase was for our first house. We added some budget to be able to basically get some seed money to start that project, but then we brought it right back to the 775. And then so our budget is exactly the same as last year. The regular programs that could go towards that towards a housing, new house project. Then we have our maintenance of buildings. If we needed to do a transfer from one fund to another, that maintenance of buildings, that is, we have to keep that amount in there because of our underground storage tanks, our fueling stations. We have to keep at least that amount in case there's a disaster in order to keep insurance on those. So that is why that's a specific number in the maintenance of buildings. And so here's our worst case scenario advertised budget. If we spend out both budgets every year, we start the year at 1.7 million. We'd end the year with 900,000. And if we spend 100% again, we'd be at 164,000. Hopefully we don't get anywhere close to that because we don't have any plans on really bringing any money in or taking any money out right now. We kind of like to keep that cash there where it sits for now. And so we project that those numbers will stay the same for this year and next year. And that was much quicker. Any questions on the rainy day fund? Okay, that's all I got.
More to come.
more to go.
Till next week.
Yep.
Right.
Thanks, folks.
Not used to be on this.
All right. Any other questions from the board? Comments? Last shot for the audience? Nothing? All right, then we're adjourned.
Thank you.